Oh, hello, Susie.
Welcome, everyone, to the Brain Candy Podcast, episode 467.
Oh, 467.
I was telling Sarah that someone said they enjoy our show and referred to me as zen and soothing.
I find you zen and soothing, though, so I get it. But maybe
but
that
I
person's
said
like
to
me.
her, you mean in comparison to Sarah?
Yeah, that makes sense.
But she was
compared to the Dalai Lama, maybe not.
Right, no.
But compared to me, yeah.
And definitely
you're zen.
not in comparison to like my inner monologue, which is not zen at all.
Oh, it's kind of like a duck on the surface thing.
I think it must be. Mm-hmm. I didn't know anyone had this impression of me.
I do. You seem you're like stable.
Steady.
All
right.
Yes.
Good.
I can lean on Suze.
Well, we'll change that today.
Yeah.
Okay. First, I wanted to say that I watched this documentary that I really enjoyed and I want to recommend, which was called Feels Good Man. And it's about, you know, the cartoon meme Pepe the Frog?
Pepe the Frog.
It was very popular around 2015, 2016.
Okay. It's just like a frog, not like the troll-looking frog. Or maybe
you should look.
I'll look.
So, Pepe the Frog, if you're not familiar, is this cartoon frog.
Yeah.
Who's very simply and crudely drawn.
Yeah. I got it. Yes.
You have definitely seen this.
Totally.
Even if you don't know
Yes.
the name is Pepe.
Yes.
And it was drawn originally by this very sweet, nerdy artist, as, you know, comic guys often are.
Yeah.
And he created this, you know, comic strip and whatever, and it was sort of underground. And then one day it ended up on 4chan and Reddit.
Yeah.
As sort of like...
That's kind of what I associated with, like Reddit and like trolls and almost like...
Exactly.
Like not nice groups.
Yes, correct. And so this documentary explores how this innocent frog became a hate symbol for white supremacy and the kind of guys that hang out on 4chan and then like kill people. You know, I mean, I hate to say it that way, but that's just
I
truth.
just learned what 4chan was, so like, yeah.
I mean, it's like
this.
one step away from the dark web.
Right.
And it became this thing that people would use as like the sad frog meme, whatever. And then it just kept growing and growing. Yeah. And so the documentary is about Pepe, of course, but it's really illuminating about the type of men that feel alienated and feel like they didn't get to fulfill their promised destiny as like this privileged white male figure.
Yeah.
And they're like pissed at women because women don't want to bang them.
Yeah.
And they're basically incels.
Yeah.
Basement dwellers.
Yes.
And they've created this whole culture online where they comment on everything and make things go viral, but it's all toxic and gross.
Yes.
And so that was the part that was so fascinating because it's important to know about this underbelly of our culture. And it's so consequential. I mean,
it really is.
That's what how Trump got elected is by resonating with these types of groups.
Yep. And to me, even without seeing that documentary and just thinking about what you're talking about, I was just talking with Ren the other day about reviews on restaurants.
Yes.
And how sometimes the voices that are leaving the reviews aren't the collective, like that. It's not an accurate representation.
It's not a representative sample.
It's not a representative sample. Thank you. And the people who are using internet forums and writing in all those are kind of like not the voices we need to be amplifying or listening to.
Well, because you know how it's basically like the Nextdoor crowd, the people that kind of hang out on Nextdoor and like report people in their neighborhood, and it's often racist and stuff like that.
Yes.
I think there's a lot of overlap in that Venn diagram.
Yes.
Of internet user.
And it's just like so backwards because then that becomes what the, you know, internet and what Reddit or what any of those like become. And
they're sort of influencers in that way.
Yes. Negative influencers.
Ew. That's also redundant, I feel like. I mean, don't you often think that? And I don't know if people consider us influencers, but we're not.
No.
So I'm just fascinated by that whole world. But this is a version of that, sort of. And
I've had to remind myself that I'm not, and I don't need to, like, because that's a full-time job. That's like, if
you mean
you're
the
doing
people
that,
that truly do
yes,
that? Yeah.
If you're doing that work, like, that is, you are making, you're a content creator. You know, I was like watching videos on TikTok, and they're like, oh man, those videos are so cool. I wish I could do that. And I'm like, no, because I don't have a master's degree in production, and I don't have, like, that's what they're doing. That is their...
Well, and I've worked with a lot of them through my company, and what I've noticed is how they really have internalized this relationship they have with their audience, where they truly believe that it's a relationship and that they know each other, like they know their audience, and they feel accountable, and they want to say, sorry, I haven't been on, you guys. But like, it's to me, it feels very strange and disorienting. And in a way, this documentary sort of touched upon that, how if you spend all your time in a not real environment online, you do lose touch with reality.
Yes, totally. Oh, God.
It's not healthy.
No, it's not. I've been watching because and every time I talk about this documentary with somebody, not every time, but often I get the same response back where somebody's like, oh, yeah, me too. I couldn't watch The Social Dilemma in one sitting. I had to watch it. Like, I watched a little more of it last night, and Ren and I have been, like, watching bits and pieces because it's almost like you have to process it. You have to, like, take it all in.
Yeah.
And a lot of that reminded me that we're just getting led down maybe the wrong path.
Yeah. It really does warp your sense for reality and what matters.
Yes.
And you see that throughout this film and how they have these inside jokes, and it's all weird, abstract sort of comedy of the absurd sometimes. And then they feed off each other, but it's not good. And then it also described how the artist copes with that, because that was not his intention, and he's against all of that.
Right.
But now his creation is literally on the list of official hate symbols. And how that,
my God.
You know, and it affects his career. It affects his mental state.
Could you imagine?
No.
If you did that, like, any one of my little doodles, somebody just took that,
and it became like the new swastika.
So, oh no.
Because that's
does he need
essentially
therapy? I'll help him.
He seems very sad.
I think he would be very sad.
And he's married and has a little girl.
Oh.
And he's like, he wrote a children's book, but it's like, how are you going to sell it when you're the creator of a hate symbol on accident? It was really interesting.
Gosh, that's so interesting.
And depressing.
Yeah.
I mean, it is. But I do like learning about the basement dwellers, because we are failing our boys, I think.
I would agree with that.
And they're the evidence of it. And so, I don't know. I just think it's important to watch.
I think we need to give men a wider range of like, we have too narrow of a definition of masculinity.
Absolutely.
And, you know, we need to widen that up. That's why I love people like Jonathan Van Ness and people who are just like, you know,
they bring a different,
a
totally different vibe.
Totally different vibe. All my new follows on Instagram. Yes.
My God, you're still into it.
I know I am. I forever will be.
Okay. Next up, I did enjoy this. Did you see that little viral video of, it was one of those doorbell cameras, like Ring or whatever. And a man and his wife, an older man and his wife, were ringing the doorbell and knocking in the middle of the night of their neighbor's house to tell him that he had won a Nobel Prize, and the committee couldn't get in touch with him. And the guy ringing the doorbell had written the research with his neighbor. So he had just won too, and he rings the doorbell, and then finally the guy answers, and he's like, hello? And he's like, I just wanted to tell you that you won the Nobel Prize. He didn't even say we won the Nobel Prize. Like, he just gave it all to him.
That's so sweet.
It was so cute, and they're like nerdy academics, and the wife's like, So you better answer your phone. They're trying to get in touch with you. Like, it's just old people. Even Nobel Prize
video
winners.
so bad.
I just thought,
those kind of things are so. We need those videos.
And it was cool because the guy that was in bed, his wife was away for work, and so she got an alert that someone was at their door in the middle of the night. So she watched at the time, like in real time, got to see her husband find out.
I love that.
So that was super cute. And yet another reason why you should buy a Ring camera in case you win the Nobel Prize.
Sweet. In case you win a Nobel
But like his
Prize.
reaction was so muted and hilarious because he was just
exactly like a Nobel Prize.
He just sort of didn't process it, and he was just sort of like, and then he goes, "Wow, well." Anyway, like it just was like, that's it. So understated,
Yeah.
Very cute.
Do you know what it was in or what it was for?
I do not. I do not know the subject, but congrats to him.
Congrats. Isn't that crazy that because they're on what is it, like, I think it's is it Helsinki or?
Yeah, somewhere like that.
It's
or
in
Zurich
Norway.
or something.
Where's Norway? Oslo.
Okay.
Is it Oslo? I think it might be Oslo.
Somewhere in like Scandinavia.
Yes, and so it's on that time or
whatever. So they were trying to call him in the middle of the night. Okay, next up. Okay. Did you read about Jeffrey Toobin, the New Yorker journalist who was caught masturbating on Zoom?
What? We can't even get away from Me Too shit. We've actually gotten rid of offices, and somehow men have found a way to still sexually harass women in their own homes.
Yes.
Can you please explain this to me?
Yeah, I will. I first want to say that what I would encourage you to do is not act like that on Zoom.
No.
But to try out Noom, which is a great service that will help hold you accountable towards whatever your goals are. If you want to lose weight, if you want to move more, if you want to be less stressed, whatever you want in your life, Noom can help you reach your goal and hold you accountable and provide you with information that's scientifically based. It's a cognitive behavioral approach to behavioral change. And we all have things that we want to improve upon, and Noom will help you do that. They have personalized coach that will help you understand you and your goals. There's lessons. It's flexible because it's on an app, so you don't have to commit to some rigorous plan or anything. And if you go off track, there's no shaming. They just give you tips to help get you back on track for tomorrow, which I love because, then it's not all or nothing. It's just like stay the course. And it's just 10 minutes a day that you commit to it. There's science to getting healthier. It's called Noom. Sign up for your trial today at Noom. That's noom.com/braincandy. What do you have to lose? Visit noom.com/braincandy to start your trial today. That's Noom, noom.com/braincandy. Okay. So Jeffrey Toobin is a very accomplished and successful journalist for the New Yorker, very fancy. Mm-hmm. And they were doing a Zoom work simulation for election night. They were practicing Sarah's face. She was not happy.
I think about all the times where I'm like, I'd really like to practice some self-love.
Self-love.
Let me tell you, none of those times have ever been when there are people around. Or what is this like this has got to be a thing then.
Okay, well. Okay.
You don't accidentally masturbate.
I think he may have. Not accidentally masturbated. I think that was intentional. But I don't think he realized he was still on Zoom and that he could be seen by his colleagues.
My God.
So they were doing this election night simulation where they were preparing for how that would go on election night.
Yeah.
And they were taking a break.
But he wasn't.
He was
like, now the fun really starts.
So,
that's him getting his hands warm. He's not an animal.
I guess he just got real worked up about election night.
Oh my God.
And
funny, because this year's election gets the opposite reaction from me.
Right. Right. It killed our libido. Not Jeffrey Toobin, though. So he started jerking it, and they saw him, and he was, I guess, fired. And
like, what do you even say?
He put out a statement where he said,
But what do they say when you see somebody, when all of a sudden you see, and what did they see?
Well, from what I understand.
Oh my God, I'm mortified for him.
Me too. I believe that he had kind of pointed the camera down at the wiener.
No.
Because you think about it, you really don't see your below the waist area on Zoom unless you're doing some sort of interpretive dance.
Right.
And so I think that he...
Oh, my God.
Whatever. So anyway, he put out a statement. He's real sorry. Whatever. But the thing about it is, you know that reaction that you have, particularly when it's a man, where you kind of like feel sorry for them? Because like his life is ruined.
Yeah, it is.
And you have this sense of like, oh, that really sucks. Mm-hmm. But I read this article about the male bumbler and how like we constantly give them extreme power. Yeah. Like he is a very successful person.
Yeah.
He should know how Zoom works.
You should.
This isn't my dad.
Like, you should also be like, that meeting was over 5 minutes ago. Let me like go
to the bathroom at least.
Else.
Because it just feels like you can't have it both ways. You can't be in a position of that much power and knowledge and information and also be a bumbler.
Yeah.
Like, because it kind of feels like you're just not being careful because nothing bad, like you never have consequences.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
You know?
Like the rest of us have to be really careful and do things to not, well,
because what if it were a black guy?
Oh my God.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, if the situation were different, there would be no, he probably just didn't.
No, there would not be. You're right.
It'd be like he's a predator or whatever.
You're right. And that was what my first was like, this guy sounded, what we're Me Tooing at work now? I thought it was like.
Well, yeah, because when I first heard, I assumed he was like trying to hide it. Like getting secret, off. Yeah, but like, this was just a situation where he claims he didn't know he was even on camera. So, I don't know. It just fascinates me now because now that I read the article about the male bumbler, I'm like, this happens all the time. And I do feel bad for them. And maybe we shouldn't.
Yeah, I don't think we could feel bad for maybe like what, like, oh yeah, what everything that is going to come from that is not the best, but I don't. Well, because he did that.
In the article, they used Woody Allen as an example where he was just sort of at the time, like whenever the whole accusations came out about Mia Farrow's daughter, he kind of took that posture of like, what? I didn't know. Yeah. I don't know what you could be talking. Meanwhile, you're one of the most successful directors in the world. Stop acting like you don't know what's going on.
Or do you think it's one of those things where you are able to be really good in one category, but you just can't pull it this is their cooking and baking?
It's possible. I think in the case of Jeffrey Toobin, maybe it's not the best explanation for what happened. But in the article, it says that they lack guile and it weaponizes our tendency to read white men as slow, meandering children who know not what they do.
Yes.
And maybe we should just get out of the habit of that.
I do agree with that.
Like, sorry, Jeffrey, you need to be held accountable. Yes. It sucks, but...
Stop whipping your dick out. Freaking.
You couldn't wait to masturbate?
Right. And then here's, like, I have so many questions. So, like, one would assume that he's masturbating at his computer because he's watching porn.
Right.
So is there you mean to tell me that he knew how to, like, could figure out how to pull up porn to watch?
But maybe there was no porn. Maybe he was like, there's a 5-minute break, let's do this.
And if that's the case, then you should shut your computer.
For sure.
I mean, like, come on.
It's pretty basic. Oh, like, gosh. Even if you don't know how Zoom works, that's a better safe than sorry situation.
Yeah. I mean.
Stop jerking it.
Stop
Jeffrey.
Stop it.
Stop doing that.
Stop doing that.
Okay, so
God.
that's that. I just wanted to talk to you about it.
Did you hear, this is, since we're on the subject of like sex scandals and stuff.
Yes.
I think he's his name's Cal Cunningham. He's like a congressman or a senator or something who got caught in a sexting scandal. But to call it a sexting scandal is a stretch.
Sarah, I'm so glad you mentioned it.
Oh my God. I was cringing.
The worst sex ever.
The worst sex. I'm like, would you even be mad?
The one that I keep thinking about is when he said, I want to give you kisses lots.
Okay.
Like, that's it?
That's it. Just one of the ones that she had sent, when can I see you? I want to kiss you. And I kiss back a lot. Oh my God. And then she had sent him one that said like, starch your white shirt. We're going to be kissing.
Yes.
What?
Sarah, I can't believe I forgot to talk about this.
It's just so funny to me.
I love it. Mm-hmm. I love that he's so, bad.
So bad.
At sexting.
So okay, and so I was listening to some people talk about this, and there's a comedian who was saying, Mo Rocca, who I love, and he was like, I think it's kind of like sweet.
It is actually.
It, or is it like sweet or
I mean, it is. It's not sweet that they were having an affair.
Well, that's not sweet at all.
And that he has a wife. But it was refreshing to see that it didn't go like full X-rated.
Right.
That it was more innocent. But I think it was partially because they didn't actually do anything. They never actually acted upon it.
It was just these
so there was like
illicit texts.
Illicit.
And
right?
There was one that
I think
she
we've had
said,
better.
Oh, for sure.
We've had more hot texting than they did.
Right.
That's how bad it was.
Oh my gosh. It got steamier when we were talking about our lady parts a few episodes
For real.
back.
Like, even if he added an eggplant emoji, it would have spiced it up a little.
For goodness sake. Something. Can I get a peach?
Even a flame.
Something.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. He's definitely not using the water emoji or anything like clever like that. The tongue. No, he's not. The drips. No, he definitely isn't doing that.
Yeah.
There was one that she had sent, I guess, to some of her friends about like he hadn't been responding for a while, and something along the lines of like, I don't know why I'm not getting text back from him. I mean, he has time when he's sitting on the toilet going poo. Can't he respond then?
She said that?
Yes, for sure said that.
To her friend?
Yes. Oh my gosh, I'm going to find the exact quote because it's so...
What if you knew that your sex partner only did it when he was making BMs?
Oh my gosh.
God. This is even better.
I'm going to just...
How did this get better?
I want to like read the line that...
Oh my God.
That is... Oh God, I
Listen, if you're going to mess up your marriage and your life with an affair, at least make it hot. That is the least you can do.
At least.
Because that wife had to see... that
boring. But then maybe she's like, yeah.
Yeah, I could have told you.
Yeah, I could have told you that. Go ahead, try. Have fun with him.
Well, I don't know what their fertility was like, but I know that, if she was smart, she'd try modern fertility.
Yep. I tried it. I love it.
We do love it because don't you want to know what's going on in your womb?
Yes.
For the love of God.
Mm-hmm. Knowledge is power.
Knowledge is power.
Oh, it's so good to know these things.
It's so good. And modern fertility is so easy and affordable. You just do it at home. You don't have to go into the doctor's office. It's an easy and affordable way to test your fertility hormones at home. Simple finger prick. And then you just mail it in with a prepaid label and you get your results within 10 days. And it's so much more affordable than the doctor's office. So it's like $159 to get the same information you'd pay like thousands for. And you can find out, how many eggs you have, any reproductive red flags. You
even get a consultation with a nurse who will walk you through a plan for whatever your goals are, whether that's to get pregnant or not get pregnant.
Right. Or if you just want to know what is cooking. They can help you understand it better. And right now, Modern Fertility is offering our listeners $20 off the test when you go to modernfertility.com/braincandy. That means your test will cost $139 instead of hundreds or thousands it would cost at the doctor's office. Get $20 off your fertility test when you go to modernfertility.com/braincandy. modernfertility.com/braincandy.
Yay.
Yay. Anyway, I'm just saying, make it sexy if you're going to be cheating. Or even if you're just in a relationship.
Don't cheat. Yeah.
Or don't cheat.
Yeah, or that. But definitely, like, make it sexier. If you're going to do it, like, do it right.
I guess he was nervous or something. He's the bumbling man.
Yeah, I think that might be his...
He had guilt,
No, I think that might be his like, max.
I can't even believe that. I've never met a guy that would have that as their max. Like, these guys are ravenous.
I don't think that... I wonder if that's probably not the same guy who'd be, like, whipping it out in a Zoom meeting.
Good point. Maybe this is a better problem
This is... Right. I'll take this over the other. I mean, a happy medium, but...
Let me ask you this. Yeah. What would you do if you had been in that Zoom?
That's what I'm saying. Is like, what do you do?
Because he came back after, unknowing that everyone had just seen his wiener.
Oh, my God.
Would you be like,
I'd be like, was
Jeff,
it good for you?
For real?
Yeah, I would probably have to say something. I mean, I probably wouldn't. I'd be like mortified.
Because I think you'd be
mortified.
mad.
I'd be probably mad. Yeah.
Yeah, you'd be triggered and you'd be like,
yeah.
Excuse me, Tubin.
Yeah.
Why was your dick on my screen?
Yes. His last name's Tubin, which kind of also feels like an appropriate name for a whacker.
Oh.
A web whacker, we'll call him.
My God. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I'm dying.
Worldwide web whacker.
Okay, well, moving on.
www.
Okay. Okay, so prison guards recently were fined for using Baby Shark on repeat as punishment. What do you think of that?
Oh, my God. If that's the case, then half of the parents in America have essentially been
to jail.
To jail.
Yeah. He would make them stand against a wall, I guess facing the wall, and then they would play it for hours, which would be terrible. Mm-hmm.
Does that fall under cruel and unusual?
It is both.
Yeah, it is.
It's certainly unusual.
I mean, I think if you were to just stand facing the wall and without music playing, I think that's pretty fucked up.
I agree.
I mean, it's kind of similar to some things I did on the challenge, but, you know.
At least you had the potential to win money.
Right, this is true.
Yeah, I can see why that would be an effective punishment.
I just think that there's no time where treating people, like we're dehumanizing people and punishing them through humiliation is a good idea. Has a desired effect. It just doesn't.
Well, I was reading this book called The Well-Gardened Mind, and in it she talks about when there are gardens put into hospitals or prisons, how great it is for the inmates and how they get an opportunity to restore their minds and not be violent, and it's very zen. Yes. And you would think that they would want to encourage that feeling and the calm and the productivity.
Oh, 100%. Well, this is like we're doing the opposite of what we think is the right thing.
And it makes me crazy because there's so many studies that show how you can get people to behave better. Yes. And it's not through that kind of torture.
Right. This is like capital, or what is it called? What's it called when corporal punishment? Yeah.
So why is it that you think that despite the fact that we have all this scientific data that shows how they could get the results they want, but they keep using...
I think it's a power dynamic thing. I think it's like Stanford prison experiment things, that it's more the power that the individual wields in that moment than the... Because I don't think in that moment the person who's delivering the punishment is thinking, I'm going to try to better this, to rehabilitate this person, and I want the best outcome. They're doing it like as a, you deserve that, like they're
I think there's also an element of them knowing that the public really doesn't like to hear that prisons are pleasant. Like if you have a garden, then that bothers the regular people.
Does it though?
I think it does. It doesn't bother me, but I think it bothers most people. They think, oh, you get to go and have it, because they say that now about, the prisoners have cable and they get free food and,
God, that's so, yeah.
I think
can see
that's
that,
part of it too.
I don't like that.
I wouldn't want to listen to that song for a couple hours, I'll tell you that.
No, I wouldn't either. And I'm just like really mad that I didn't think to put that on YouTube, because we've been singing the Baby Shark song at camp for like 20 plus years.
Isn't that funny how just one day then it becomes a thing?
I'm like, what other ones?
Right.
Ren
do you know
has
any other hits?
Yeah, Ren
singles?
has a really funny one that he would do, oh my gosh, about moose. Like about a moose.
Yeah.
Which I will not be singing on here because you guys might take my idea and then post it on YouTube and make a bunch of money.
Dunbar.
Dunbar, right?
Right.
But no, it was, he's got, it's kind of very similar. Like, da moose, swimming in the water.
Sarah, stop it.
Yes. Which is very much like Baby Shark, do.
I like it better, actually.
It's way better.
Yeah.
It's super cool.
Okay.
And so I'm like, Brandon,
maybe we should do that.
Yeah,
let's start it.
We should like tape it and then just have like a cool moose spinoff.
Okay, next story. This one is straight out of Susie's Worst Nightmare.
Oh no.
It's one of those dealies where they think someone's dead and they send them to the funeral home and they're alive. And I hate those stories.
Hate that. What was it this time?
She was a woman with special needs. I think it was cerebral palsy. Mm-hmm. And she had trouble breathing. They thought she perished. And she went all the way to the funeral home. And then hours and hours later, the embalmer...
Like you are at the point where you're about to be filled with formaldehyde.
Yeah. Can you imagine?
No.
Well, he went up to her and then her eyes were open and she was breathing. And he was like, we have a problem.
Oh my, okay. What country is this in?
United States.
No.
Oh, I know, because it's usually like India.
Right. I'm like, okay, I get it. Like,
no, this was the US of A.
No.
And she has since actually passed away because she was, comatose and stuff previously.
Right. But I feel like this is, if there were one more hour of life in there, then she gets that one more hour. Like, let's not be sending anybody to the...
This is my fear. I have a fear of being buried alive.
Correct.
And this is what scares me. They mistook her, and if it went long enough, it could have happened that she would have been buried alive.
But she would have been embalmed, so it would have been...
Let's say...
They really... At that
do they
point,
ever bury people without that crap? Yeah,
yes,
sometimes.
They do.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, and I feel like there's a reason why sometimes you can't embalm somebody. Are there religions where you can't?
Yeah, there are various things where people treat dead people according to their religiosity. But so technically, if she wasn't one of these embalmer people, then she might have been right in the ground with dirt on top of her, and then woke up like, "Hey, everybody!"
Oh my God,
that is hell.
No, that's a real nightmare.
What isn't a nightmare is when you get to use freelance artists and experts online through Fiverr. That is a dream. Yes. It's the opposite of a nightmare. Fiverr is so convenient because they have digital services and you can pick an expert in graphic design or copywriting, web programming, film editing, all that stuff for whatever job you need them to do. Social media, something for your website. Maybe you own a little business. And this will help you get a little extra support and support freelance talent. And it's so easy. You can compare who's the best for what you need, seller reviews, no guessing games. So you don't have to negotiate. You see their rate, 24/7 customer service. I love it. It's just great. Great platform.
I love what you've used it for. It all looks so good.
Check out Fiverr.com and receive 10% off your first order by using our code BRAINCANDY. Find all the digital services you need in one place at Fiverr.com, code BRAINCANDY. Again, that's Fiverr, code BRAINCANDY. Alrighty. Alrighty, Rue. All right. I did read about how cats do love music, but it has to be like a specific kind.
Yeah, that makes sense for cats.
Why do you hate cats so much?
I don't hate them. I just get them.
Really?
Am I wrong?
No, they like songs that simulate purring.
Oh.
And what did it say? Let me see. Wait. I think. And sliding. Oh, and birds like chirpy tunes. And
what's an example? Tweedledee.
Oh my God. Rockin' Robin.
Rocked in the treetop all day long. Can you imagine? That's a cat's favorite song is Rockin' Robin.
In this case, they just orchestrated original pieces for your cat. But you're right.
What if the cat's favorite song were No Diggity or Lose Yourself by Eminem?
Which are the sociopath songs.
Oh, God, that's really funny if you listen to our episodes on the regular.
Oh, my God. Well, I just like that because we often personify our pets and we assume they will like what we like. And you may know somebody who has a dog or a cat and they leave like the Weather Channel on to keep them company.
Yes.
Or leave the radio on. But that will not satisfy your cat because he or she wants cat music.
You want specific cat songs.
And then I read a separate thing about how, like, if you want to make friends with a cat, which I do, because, like,
Susie wants to make friends with all animals. I'm learning. She's basically becoming Snow White as she grows up.
That's so true.
It is. Like, I want to be around no people, and I want the animals to land on my arms.
I'm a late bloomer because we never had pets growing up, so I didn't know how much joy they give.
So much joy.
If you want to make friends with a cat, here's a trick, and I found it works.
Oh, okay.
So in cat world, when they're super scared or like predatory, they're wide-eyed.
Okay.
But when they're relaxed, that's when they like get all drowsy-eyed. And if you do that to a cat where you like kind of like slow blink, they're like, oh, you're cool. Okay. And then
you bedroom-ize cats and they'll be like, chill.
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
That's a good tip.
This is an excellent tip.
Because I think it's the opposite with dogs where it's like...
You have to be like, hey, how you doing?
Yeah.
Where you going? Ready to go? Like,
with cats, you got to take it down a notch.
I'm just like, what else? I mean, would that work with a dog if I were to try to be calming? We have to experiment with Bo.
I don't think they respond to that.
No. She's going to be like, what? What do you want? What do you want? We're going somewhere?
That was, when I babysat Bo, that was the funnest part in the mornings when I'd be like, get her wound up.
Yes,
you know?
I love it.
And she goes for it.
She does.
She starts dancing a little bit.
Yes, she does a little spin. If you ask, if you say, Bo, do you want breakfast? And she goes, and she does a little spin. And the funny thing is she does not seem to know the word for dinner. So at nighttime, we just say, now, do you want breakfast again?
No, you do not.
Yes, we do. Because she wasn't getting excited. We're like, I don't think she knows the word dinner. So we're like, Bo, do you want dinner? And there was nothing. And we'd be like, Bo, do you want breakfast? And she'd be like, spin around.
Get
and
out
like,
of here.
She thinks that breakfast is just all food.
Or maybe she just really likes like pancakes or something.
She's like, this is not breakfast.
This is filet mignon. Fuck you.
Right. I did just up her dog food to make it veal or venison and bison because I was like, I'm giving her the fancy stuff in her old age.
It's like, oh, that's really nice.
Yeah. And it is better for their skin. And so I was like, I'm going to give her the really good stuff.
Wow. Yeah. I've been thinking a lot about how we treat our elderly community in the United States and how maybe it's because I'm on the slow march to death myself over here, like on the other side of the hill. And I'm like, oh no, that's my future. It's like when you're alone and all your friends are dead.
You won't be. We'll be together. We'll be on episode 20,486.
If I do wonder that, I'm like, when
it's never going away. There's no when, why, for what reason?
I agree, but like,
there's no reason. I see none.
I agree.
Right.
It's just funny because I think that's not typical.
Probably. Well, we'll be like the Rolling Stones of we're fine.
That is a great. Yes, I like that goal.
Yeah. And it's just a different and different generations will grow up with us, and then we'll get to the point where we're like old, and then it'll be like throwback stuff where it'll be like we'll be like, you know how like younger people think Betty White's cool?
Yes.
That'll be like us.
That is so great.
I know.
Oh my God,
Susie's
love
like
that.
taking notes on our future.
I'm like, Betty White.
Yeah, we'll be like that, and then it'll be like, oh my God, are you guys going to listen to the Brain Candy podcast? They were like the original...
Yes.
Women
Don't
of
you think the trick to
podcasting
becoming like the Betty White icon is that you have to be okay with like potty humor and like crude sex.
We got that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Check and check. And check.
Like, I
Two
think
checks,
that's
number-
what makes it work.
Yeah.
Is if people know that you're not
take
precious.
ourselves too seriously.
Yes.
We're not, nobody's precious over here. I mean, we are
All
precious.
right. I'm glad we have this all worked out.
Yeah, we're good. And then it's just going to be like us living together. And Ren's younger, so he's going to like stay, you know, like around for a little while.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Maybe it'll be good because Adam's a little younger than me.
Yes, it's perfect.
And so that'll even out the death rate.
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, you're right.
Because we die about like, 6 years. Or
is it 6 years?
Something like that. I don't know what the actual breakdown with the average. We should find out. But I think the ages of the men we decided to be with make up for that.
Isn't it interesting that the reason that is the case is because men have a faster metabolic rate, which is annoying normally because that's why they can lose weight quickly.
But you die sooner.
Yeah, who cares? You're
Right.
you're embalmed, buried alive. Like, so what? I'll be fat and happy.
Right. Oh, love that.
Yeah,
I'm fine with that.
that's what I'm talking about.
I can't wait to be at the age where I'm like, yeah, I'm
Me
going
too.
for
Mine,
just
I
like
think it's 50.
full blown. Okay, 50. No, because my mom's older than 50 and she's real active and she would never let herself like because you still want to move.
Okay, but I think that
When am
might
I
be
going
the
to be
age
like tired
when
of moving?
Oh, I don't know.
75,
I'm thinking more of
80.
what's the age when I won't care what I look like. And
I'm
I think
close.
it's 50. You're like, I'm already there.
I'm there.
Well, you still look great, though.
Oh, you're the sweetest.
Because I
Still.
think 40 is when you start to be like, uh-oh.
Oh, yeah.
And it's like that Real Housewives problem.
Yeah,
where you
I
still
have
wanna be
realized where I'm
sexy.
like, oh, now we're at irreversible damage place. We're like, we're not.
Where you are?
Yeah, like where you start to see, you're like, oh no, these are wrinkles that are just there now. They're gonna be that's there.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, that's new. That's how I look now.
So if you
It's fine.
hit 40 and so your sexual capital is waning and you're white knuckling it, you're clinging to this idea that you're still sexy, and that lasts for about 10 years, I think.
Okay, yeah. So
And
50.
then
I see. That
50's
makes sense.
when
And
you're
I
like,
don't give a
oh,
fuck.
it's over.
Yeah, my mom doesn't give a fuck about like she's like you
Yeah.
like it or you don't like it.
Because
Whatever.
I want to be like Prue on Bake Off.
Oh, for sure.
Super stylish.
You are Prue on Bake Off. That is your future.
Thank you.
And I'll be Noel and it'll be great.
I'll be married to Noel, so maybe we will start sexting. I don't know. Who knows what'll happen? Okay. So this is a story I read in the New York Times about a sea lion named Cronut, which is adorable.
Yes, it is.
Which is a croissant and donut hybrid. Mm-hmm. And this sea lion had to have brain surgery
Whoa.
for epilepsy, which is notable. But what was interesting to me was the reason that Cronut developed epilepsy is because of algae blooms from climate change.
Oh my God.
So all these sea creatures are getting epilepsy.
Suze, that was
we
a
are
story that I
assholes.
had written down that, I mean, so long ago, but it was during a week where you were like, don't give me any depressing stories. And I was like, oh, then I won't talk about the mass die-off in Russia of all the marine life.
Yeah.
Like, did you see it?
No.
Oh, and it was like the week after we watched My Octopus Teacher.
No.
Look, I'm getting goosebumps.
Were
I
they just
can't.
floating or what?
And you know how when in My Octopus Teacher, when the octopus dies, it was like white?
Yeah.
Like all the life is gone. We're talking the ocean, like the entire shoreline is covered with
What were
thousands.
the creatures? What were they?
Everything you could imagine
In the sea.
Look, I can't even. Oh my gosh, it's like
From
giving me.
what? From the algae?
They think it's from some toxic runoff, and there's some like with the climate change, or there's something that's happening with the rising temperatures of the water over there, and
Humans are the worst.
yeah, for sure. And the algae blooms were a big problem with. I think it was in Southern California where there were dogs that were getting real sick and dying, and they were saying, don't let your dogs lick up any of the, like, go to the beach or like lick any water by like in any kind of stagnant water, because they were getting sick with this stuff.
That's so tragic.
Oh my God.
So apparently the algae blooms, when they come about because of climate change, are then eaten by sardines, which of course are then eaten by sea lions, and they're toxic and cause brain injuries.
Oh gosh. And if it's doing that at that level, okay, because we're eating fish.
Right.
Oh Lord.
I know. It's like the worst circle of life ever.
Oh God.
We're supposed to be the dominant.
I know. Well, this is more of a...
This is like self-sabotage because it's our fault, and then we'll pay the price, won't we? God. Isn't that terrible?
This is more of a reason to be a vegetarian.
Oh my God.
That's what our show is just going to turn into.
What if that was the whole point of it all along? It was just like a
I'm
long
going to show
game.
you this picture. Are you ready?
Yeah. Oh my God, that is so much worse than I imagined.
It's the whole ocean that's washed up.
I'm going to have to post this on Instagram. This is wall to wall.
The whole thing.
Sea life. Just
it's all dead. All dead.
Sea dead.
And the way I found out about it is this woman, I mean, look, I can't even.
It looks like if you've ever seen a garbage dump.
Yes. Oh God, it can't. It's like it's a nightmare.
What do you call it? Marine life.
Yeah.
Ew. Oh, that's horrible.
It's horrible. And I saw it when, oh God, I can't even look at those pictures.
I'm like,
I saw it when Natalie from The Challenge, she had it posted and she was like, oh my gosh, you have to see what's going on in Russia right now. And so I clicked on that and it was a Russian woman who was, and you had to like it didn't even have the translations up yet. And it was her just walking around saying like, this was my home. I swam in this ocean, and then she did like a split, like, swipe slideshow thing where it was the ocean last year and the ocean this year. And she's like, I'm heartbroken. I can never go in those waters again. How can you? Like,
for real, if you have kids, how can you not care about it? Because you might think, oh, well, who cares? I'll be dead by the time it matters. But like, that's not how this works. And it's already happening now.
Yeah.
Gosh,
and
it's so sad.
Cronut.
I don't know. I know that Cronut is expected to make a full recovery.
Good.
And the reason why it was notable is because the surgery is highly unusual, but they're going to have to start doing it a lot.
Oh,
for
my
these
God.
Creatures who are victims.
Interesting. Epilepsy, huh? That's, because the animals, I think they do a good job of showing us what's really going on. Like, it was a couple years ago or so where there was a report that came out on a decline in fertility rates in dogs in the United States, that like dogs and like breeders were having problems with infertility, and it's only happening in the United States and not in other countries, and it's happening at the same rate. Like, they say there's a relationship between like chemicals in our environment and what the U.S. allows, and how other countries they have much stricter regulations, so they don't allow those chemicals, and they have higher rates of fertility in their dogs, and they're thinking that the dog.
Well, I know everyone that's sort of like, wonder why women have so many fertility issues, and men too.
Yeah.
Now, well, we know why.
Yeah.
But what are you going to do?
Right.
That reminds me, I read an article. Let me see if I can find it. It was about how the color of your food was determined by the government.
What?
Like, we like to imagine that everything is just sort of, that's just how it is. But that the government determines like what is allowed through the FDA. Mm-hmm. So for instance, they started saying that certain foods had to be certain colors.
Yes. Like salmon has to be this color.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
And like a lot of stuff with, produce, fresh fruit and vegetables. So it was like only a certain percentage could even have spots on it.
What?
And it had to be a certain color. And so a lot of things that we just think, well, that's how it is naturally, have been bred to be that way.
Totally.
To make it sellable.
Yes. Like if you go to Costa Rica and you ask for a lemon, they'll give you something that is green.
Right.
And it'll taste like a lemon.
Right.
But it doesn't look like a lemon. And they're like, yeah, that's a lemon.
That makes me crazy because that's why I'm thankful for those companies now, like Ugly Fruit.
Yes, I love them.
Produce boxes, where it's like they don't look perfect, but they taste great.
Yes.
Because, boy, we've made a mess of things.
We
so it was
sure
like,
have. Oh, God, we made a mess of things.
They said that 4% of peas could be, only 4% could be spotted or discolored in like a package. Who's doing the counting on that? 4%.
What a waste.
And then there was, what made me think of it was you were talking about like different countries have different rules about what can be in food. Mm-hmm. And we are far more permissive in Western culture, like with dyes and, no, I shouldn't even say Western, in the U.S.
Yeah, yes.
So, like there was the big fuss about red dye number 2.
Yep, blue dye number 5, I think
there was some blue dye.
Yeah, that one will dye your insides.
And so even M&Ms had to change. They used to have a red M&M, and then they had to change it to orange, even though they didn't use red dye number 2, but like everyone was afraid to eat them.
Wow.
And so they were like, well, I guess we're doing orange now.
Oh my gosh. Isn't it weird? Food company, like it really is like a mind game that we don't know about. I just learned that the company, you remember Tab Soda?
Yeah.
Tab Soda launched the product Tab Clear with one intention only, and it was to create a negative connotation with Pepsi Clear and put Pepsi Clear out of business because people would relate Pepsi Clear to Tab Clear, and it actually worked.
What?
Yes. The owners of Tab, that the people who owned Tab were
Why did they want to sabotage Pepsi?
Because that was
competitor.
a competitor, and they launched that with the owners, like the Tab is on record saying that.
Oh my God.
We did that with the intention to create negative connotation with Pepsi Clear, and we called it Tab Clear, and it worked.
That's insane.
And isn't that crazy? Companies are just messing with our mind all the time.
Well, and apparently there's this whole tier or hierarchy or whatever of gradation of food, and one of the categories is U.S. extra fancy. And it was saying that, okay, wait, let me read this. So for apples, for red varieties, 50 to 60% of the surface needs to be covered with, quote, good shade of solid red in order to be categorized as U.S. extra fancy. And the exact percentage depends on the variety.
Good shade of solid red.
And it just said the colors presented to consumers' eyes no longer are the full spectrum that nature would offer, but rather the narrower range specified by government standards.
Oh my gosh. So it's like we don't even know what color an apple really is.
Right.
It's like a bunch of different colors, and we don't... Like, I didn't even know that peppers, yellow, red, and green...
Same. Same...
I get it now, and they sure as hell taste the same.
Well, but they are also different prices.
I know. Freaking A. You charge me $20 for an orange bell pepper.
Is the reason because red and yellow stay on the vine longer, so they have to be cared for longer?
Yeah, I think...
okay.
Yes, because my green one, I had a green one for a little while that started turning red in places, so I think maybe it then goes...
That's how it is with jalapenos, too.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, my God.
Like, I'm mad at, and I don't even really know who I'm mad at.
I don't know either. I just don't like to be tricked.
Yeah. Assholes.
And it's like bananas. There's like only one kind, and there's like a million. And
and then there's that weirdness of how they are on the truck and shipped for weeks and weeks and weeks, and then they use that magic spray to
like the
make
apples
them ripen quickly.
Yes. Wait, ripen quickly?
Yeah, once the grocer is ready to put it out, they spray them with this magic stuff.
Yeah, I'm not into that.
That makes them suddenly ripen. So it's like an activation of the ripeness.
How do you do that?
I don't know. It's some magic.
Yeah, that magic or...
Toxic.
Yeah.
Or we're going to be like Cronut.
Yeah. Oh, my gosh.
We're doomed. This is why we drink.
Yeah.
Because
if I'm going to get the toxins, I want to be the one giving them to myself.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Okay. Let me see if I have one more before we go.
I'm so glad I remembered to talk to you about the sexting that wasn't sexting.
I am too.
I almost forgot.
I did read the history of the Band-Aid, which wasn't terribly interesting. It's sort of like what you'd expect. Mm-hmm. But the part I
wasn't full coverage? Or?
The part I liked
I'm trying to think of a Band-Aid joke.
Right. Was it flesh colored?
Yes.
So the thing I liked about it was in the story, it sort of was like this guy that invented the Band-Aid had a wife who was real clumsy, and she was always scraping herself and getting cut in the kitchen and stuff. And so that was why it necessitated the invention. But it reminded me of when we talked about the history of Pyrex and how the wife was like mad that her dishes kept breaking. And so he solved that problem. I just love that, okay, women weren't allowed to really be at the forefront.
This is great.
Yeah.
But we are the mothers of invention.
Yeah. Right.
It's true.
Right.
Right.
Uh-huh. And so I'm like, okay, if we couldn't do it, at least we could be the muses. Uh-huh. But this dope, he combined gauze and adhesive. I was like, well, yeah, that's basically...
Yeah. This dope.
That's what a Band-Aid is.
I love the idea that all these inventions are just a bunch of, like, really frustrated husbands who are like, oh,
shut
God,
up.
Happy wife, happy life. What do I do?
What's good for the goose is good for the gander.
Good for the gander. Okay, honey, I invented this thing for you because... You know, you've been bumping into yourself a whole bunch. You want to just give it a try? I'm fine. Well, I gave it to the neighbors and they seem to like it. Do you think maybe you
She's
could
like, what are you saying? Are you saying I'm clumsy?
Calm down. Don't tell me to calm down.
What's wrong? Nothing.
Well, so... What'd you do to your finger? Nothing. I'm fine.
Nothing. It's no big deal. Why do you keep asking me? The other thing about it that was interesting is like he invented it. Johnson & Johnson bought the license to use it, but it didn't catch on until they had made a deal to have it put into the Boy Scouts first aid kits.
Oh, that's smart.
When it was
what did people do before? You just wrap it up.
They had gauze and tape.
Oh, but not the sticky stuff.
Yeah, and the way to sort of combine the two is
Yeah.
what was innovative about it.
Yeah. Well, because that's, Ren and I have been watching a lot of Shark Tank, and we talk about, like, man, there's, like, new inventions all the time with things.
Yeah.
And it's just when, and we were talking about this with new shapes, too. That when, as technology advances, as we invent more things, that those things coming together to then create the new thing.
Yeah.
That's so fun.
Yeah, I love it when we all have a problem and someone's like, I've got it.
Yeah.
I always want Adam to do that because he always has little creative ideas.
I know.
He has an annoying wife who cuts herself.
Yeah.
I mean, where's my Band-Aid? For fuck's sake.
Speaking of Band-Aids, do you think the reason why on the Great British Baking Show they make them blue is so that we can all see them when they cut themselves?
Make what blue?
The Band-Aids. They only use blue Band-Aids for them on the show.
I didn't know that.
Oh, yeah. Next time you watch, look at their finger. They only give them blue Band-Aids.
See, this is an example of, is it Bake Off or is it England? Like, maybe all their Band-Aids are blue.
Is it Bake Off? I'm right. I'm taking notes. Bake Off or England?
I'll have to ask Adam if, like, the main...
He'll call them a plaster, though.
He does.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do they call it that on there?
No, they never, like... One guy was like, oh, I cut myself. Oh, can you believe it? I cut myself again or something like that. I was being real clumsy. And then I started looking at all their fingers, and it was just blue Band-Aids everywhere. And I was like, maybe they do that intentionally because then we can see who's...
It's a plot device.
Yeah.
Maybe.
But then when I was watching the show with Ren, and he was like, do you think they do that? And I was like, nope, they do nothing intentionally to me mean on here. It's the perfect show and everybody's nice. Don't ever ask a question like that again.
I know. There was one
really
thing
defensive.
recently where I was like, oh, that was like as close to sort of being manipulated as it gets. Mm-hmm. And it's nothing.
It's like nothing. Yeah.
I do probably annoy Adam when we watch because I think it's weird how in England they say instead of ready, get set, go, or in this case, ready, set, bake. Normally they say ready, steady, go.
Oh.
And I was like, why? Why do you guys say that? And he's like, I don't know.
Ready, steady, go.
But in this case, they do say ready, set, bake.
Yeah.
Is that it?
Yeah.
Bake.
On your marks, get set.
On your marks. Yeah,
get,
yeah.
Bake. Or they do say ready, set, bake, though. On
I guess this is just to become a Bake Off fan account.
I kind of did that. It was my fault.
I like it.
That was
we needed it.
Yeah, we do.
And why isn't it called Bake Off anymore?
What is it? The Great British Baking Show, huh? I know. Yeah. I say it different every single time.
It must have been a legal thing.
Yeah, I think so. And because if you try to Google, like, when do new episodes of this season come out, it's like season 11 in England and season 8 over here. It's all different.
Damn it.
So, but it's Friday. If you need to know the answer, Susie, let me know.
Yeah, it's Friday, everyone. It's biscuit week. All right. Well, we need to wind it down.
Yeah, we talked about biscuits.
God, we could just say that every time.
Yeah.
What did I talked about? How to make friends with cats?
Much. We talked about our future.
Jeffrey Toobin's tubin'.
Oh my gosh, Jeffrey Toobin's tubin'. Where you should not masturbate.
Yeah.
We talked about the frog meme.
Pepe.
That Pepe the
yeah,
frog.
watch that.
Sad.
Feels good, man.
I'm totally going to watch that.
That was on Amazon Prime.
Yeah.
Then the Nobel Neighbors.
Oh, I have to watch that video.
I was struck by what a lovely life that would be if you lived on campus as a university professor.
Yes.
Your research partner and best friend lived right next door to you, and then you fucking win a Nobel Prize. That's a nice life.
That's you and me live next door to each other, and then we get another Podcast of the Year award.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And if not, we'll just start sexting real tame stuff. Like, what did he say about kissing?
I'm going to kiss you a lot. And once was like, I'm going to roll
Start
over
your shirt,
and kiss
baby.
you. Yeah.
God, it's so dumb. And then Cronuts, maybe not epileptic anymore.
Yeah.
But the government is trying to kill you with food dye, apparently.
And definitely trying to tell you what the hell color an apple is.
I think we learned a lot. Mm-hmm. Don't forget to leave us a 5-star review.
Yeah, tell a friend.
Tell it.
And we'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.
Hey guys, if you're enjoying this podcast, try giving my podcast, Miraculous Mamas, a listen. Miraculous Mamas is a safe and inclusive place for you to find a huge amount of educational and relatable information about childbirth and parenting with absolutely everything in between. Each week we discuss important topics, share great resources, hear from experts, and listen to birth stories, all in an effort to bring you reassuring and informative experiences so that you know that you are not alone. That's all on Miraculous Mamas podcast. Look for the podcast link in the show notes or simply search for Miraculous Mamas on your podcast app.